God bless you all. Today I'll be sharing my testimony. It'll be my first official video. And what better way to start? Welcome to the channel. My name is Rax 4K. 4K stands for the kingdom. So I would like to start reading the word before I start getting into the testimony. And where I would like to start at would be Romans 4:7. Blessed are those whose disobedience is forgiven and whose sins are pardoned. Blessed is the person whom the Lord no longer considers sinful. Amen. So with that being said, put the Bible right here, leave it open. I want to start with my testimony. So God bless you all. Today I'll be wanting to share my testimony and the things that God has done for me in my life. All the change that I had to go through in order to realize where I needed to be. So I'll be trying my hardest to summarize because it's a long story, but I'll put the important key details. So this story starts when I was like 13. And at the time I wanted to be in the streets. And I had faith that I was going to be somebody big in the streets. And it takes me back to something that my homeboy told me. We can also have faith in bad things, and those bad things can happen. At that age is when I really started smoking weed and created it into an addiction. And started hanging around the wrong crowd, getting into things that, I didn't have no business getting into. And it's true when they say that the people that you hang around start to make you. So fast forward for like 2 to 3 years after that, I was just living the life, living that life where I didn't have no type of future. I didn't have, just going crazy in the streets. And towards the end, I started to feel like I didn't have any joy or peace. There would be days that I would sit there and really be like, is this my life? Is this how my life is going to be? I was smoking 5 blunts a day, and I still wouldn't feel the happiness that I was looking for. So around 9th grade year, I got into a situation where I got robbed. And me being in the streets, the first thing that I wanted to do is retaliate. Or as we say in the streets, get back. And I got into it with the people that robbed me. And I went looking for them. And thanks to the glory of God, I never found them. And I could have probably did something that would have messed up my life forever, you feel me? But after that situation, that's when things really started going downhill. The people that robbed me went to my school, and my school was right across the street from my house. So I feel like I couldn't go to school because I walked home, and I didn't want nobody following me home, or I didn't want nobody to know where I lived. So after that, I left my house. When I left my house, I was staying with people in hotels for like 3 months. During that time, there was rumors that there was money on my head and that a whole bunch of people wanted to kill me, but by the grace of God, not one hair on my head was touched. So after those 3 months, I finally returned to my mom's because she was moving away from the area that I had problems in. When I moved back, because of the people that I was putting myself around, I just started getting deeper into the stuff. I started trying other drugs, and thanks to God, the only drug that I ever got addicted to was marijuana. So fast forward, when I'm living with my mother, a certain situation happened with me and one of my homeboys. At the time, we went and did something to somebody. And keep this in mind, that night that we did that, we were sitting in the stairs of a parking garage and the gun jammed. And one of my friends was like, let me see the gun. Let me see, I could fix it. And when they tried to fix it, they pulled the trigger and the gun went off. And by the grace of God, none of us got hit that night. We were in downtown Miami right after the Miami Heat game, and it was full of police, and not one of us went to jail that night. God was trying to protect us. We ran all over the place, and one thing that I asked God was, God, make sure I please make it home. And I did. So after that, I made it home, and I thought I was good. Around that time, I met my brother from my dad's side. We never grew up together, but we started to have a relationship around the time. And he always told me he didn't want me in the streets. He didn't want me doing the things that I was doing. But sometimes we're so hard-headed and caught up in our own things that we don't listen. So he wanted me to do better and all of that, but I was so hard-headed, I wasn't really trying to pay attention to all of that. So fast forward, I took a trip out to New York. That's where he lives. So I was in New York for a little minute, and my whole family was back home in Miami. During that time I was in New York, somebody came and shot my house up. And that really impacted me because I felt like the things that I was doing started to affect my family. And thank God nobody got hit that night. I wouldn't be able to be okay knowing that I'm to blame that my family is going through all of that. So after, when I came back, in my mind, it was just like, I have to leave, you feel me? I can't live with my family and bring them all this pain. So I moved to Orlando. In Orlando, that's when God really started working in my life. And I started not wanting to be involved in the things that I used to be involved in. I didn't want to be in the streets no more. I got to a point that when I would think about being in the streets, I would get an anxiety. So I was in Orlando for a couple months, and then I took the decision to go out to New York. While I was in New York, I was really reflecting on myself and seeing everything that was wrong with me. I didn't have no plans in life. I didn't have nothing to do. I got a call from my cousin one day, and she told me, she was like, why don't you join the army? And I was like, why not? Feel me? I don't have nothing else to do in my life. So because she was already in the army, she told me come to her in North Carolina. And, you know, I was still battling over the weed addiction, but I was like, okay, I'm going to come. So I get to North Carolina, and me going to North Carolina, that's when the plan of God for me to come back to Miami really started. Because my aunt, she was in North Carolina, and, you know, she was like, we're going to drive to Miami. And that's how God brought me back to where I'm at now. So fast forward, I come back to Miami after being in North Carolina. And when I get back, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was kind of scared because I thought I was going to die. Like, I thought me coming back to Miami was that's it. That's my death. Me being here is just me dead. So everywhere I go, I would keep my head low. And when I first got here, I was trying to buy weed, but I peeped. And God didn't let me be able to get it. Every time I would hit the plug, he'll be like, nah, I'm busy, or nah, I can't right now, or nah, I don't got the car. And that's how that's when God really started working in me. So then 2 days after that, after I was already in Miami, I went and got my braids done by my homeboy's sister. And then I started talking to my homeboy about the situations that I faced because I haven't seen him in a long time. We grew up in the same church together and all that. Shout out to Mello 4K. Mello gave me a word that changed everything. He said God brought me back for a reason. And he invited me to a young adults group. And I didn't really think nothing of it till that night, Mello's sister and his mom invited me to a church service that they were going to with my aunt. I didn't really want to go. I was sleeping and my mom told me to get up. So when I finally got up, I was kind of mad, but I was like, I'm going to go. So I get there and they're praising God and they're worshiping. And then the pastor, she starts ministering. When she's ministering, I start praying and I told God, I was like, God, please, you know I need a word and I want you to answer everything that I've been asking for. So then as soon as I said that, like 5 minutes after, she points at me and she says, you come up here. And I walked up and the first thing she said, I'll always remember this word. Remember how I told you guys I was scared to be in Miami because I thought I was going to die? Well, the first thing she said, she was like, God says, don't be scared. You're walking with a new identity. You can keep your head high and walk like a prince. And I started crying, just like tears falling down my face. And when she starts praying for me and she puts her hand on me, I fell back. And when I fell back, that's really when I started to feel the spirit. So much to the point that that's the first night that I've ever spoken in tongues. That night, I gave my life to God and I started going to the groups with Mello. And I found a home in the new church that I currently attend in. And those groups really helped me because I seen people that look like me, dress like me, and talk like me. I really found a second family in them groups. So fast forward to now, I'm a changed person. I don't smoke weed. I don't talk to a lot of people that I used to talk to. And by the grace of God, I'm still here. And God gave me a word recently that he wanted me to start a YouTube channel. And I didn't think that I was ready for it, or I didn't think that was for me. But I remember something that they told me. God doesn't call us because he thinks that we're ready, or he doesn't call us to do things that we're comfortable doing. So I was like, all right, say less. So like a day ago or two, I get a call from Mello. And I kind of wasn't feeling good that day or whatever. And he tells me, I got good news for you, bro. God put it in my heart to give you my MacBook. For me, this MacBook right here. So you can start editing for your YouTube channel. And then he also said, God will provide for the things that he wants you to do. So basically, God will provide for the plans that he has for us in our life. And it took me back to another word that I got that week. What God started in me, he's going to perfect it. So now that I'm just doing God's will, this is my testimony. And I know that if I stay firm with my rock, I'll be straight. I finally feel that joy that I was looking for. Now to end off the video, I want to read a word. Daniel 4:2. It is my pleasure to tell you about the miraculous signs and wonders that the Most High God has performed for me. And for me, I just hope that you guys could take this word and see that if there's somebody that's probably going through the same situation that I was going through and you're watching this video, know that that joy that you're looking for, you're only going to find it in Jesus. I love you guys all. Amen.